Welcome to the user guide video for the HydroRex Series 10D Model 102 Rex Hydro Testing System. Before we start the user guide video, we'll do a quick walkthrough of where everything is at. So if you come over to the left hand side, you have your electrical power connection. This is a standard 110 volt to supply power to the system. Starting from left to right, you have the liquid inlet connection. You have your supply air pressure gauge and your air inlet connection. Now walking over to your right hand side, you see that you have your outlet pressure port and your release pressure port. Okay, now moving over to the front, you will open these latches and open up the door to see your 10D series system. Up here you have your outlet pressure gauge. You have the pressure gauge for your regulated air. Here you have your air regulator. And then here you have your two supply valves. The top one is your air control valve and the bottom one is your liquid control valve. Here you have your release pressure needle valve, and over here you have your isolation needle valve. Here you have your digital chart recorder, and over here you have your on and off button. And you also have the USB data ports. Please note that this system is fully operable without Wi-Fi. However, Wi-Fi is available if the user wishes to connect to their personal Windows account. An additional benefit is that the user can email test reports directly from this system to anywhere in the world. Another feature to this digital chart recorder is this USB port. This can be used to download test reports directly to a USB drive so that you can export directly to a printer or to share it to anyone you'd like. So now we will connect our power supply. We will connect our liquid inlet, which in our case will be city water. Now moving on to our air inlet. Again, in our case, we will be using a standard hose connection to use shop air. The end user can use their own connections, whatever they see fit. Now, some important information before you connect your liquid inlet and your air inlet. You want to move over to your controls and you want to make sure that your air regulator is set to 0 and that your control valves are off. So we'll shut off our air control and our liquid control valves. And this is to prevent some unwanted stroking of the pump before it's primed. Now, if you look over here, you can see that we have our air hose connected to our air inlet. And over here, you can see our supply air pressure. And we have roughly 105 PSI. And this is indicating how much shop air pressure we have. Please note that you would need from 80 to 100 PSI in order to properly operate the system. For the sake of this tutorial, we will be connecting a pressure hose to the outlet pressure port, and we will be routing it to a safe location. Now, for you, this could represent a pipe spool, a pressure vessel, or any other low or high volume object. Now, I recommend that when you go to tighten your pressure hose, please use a backup to hold the bulkhead fitting and then proceed to tighten. This way, we protect the inside line. This specific model's maximum pressure is 10,000 PSI, but it is available up to 60,000 PSI. So based on your specific model's pressure rating, it will dictate the type of hose connection required. For example, you can use a JIC hose fitting or a quick disconnect fitting for up to 15,000 PSI. For 30,000 PSI, you can use a quick disconnect or a hose fitting swivel type M9. For ultra high pressure, you can use a hose fitting type M9 as well for up to 60,000 PSI. Here's an example of the ultra high pressure hose that we make up to 60,000 PSI. Before we start our testing tutorial, we're going to go ahead and turn on our digital chart recorder by pressing this on button. Please allow up to 10 to 15 seconds for the PC to start up. There are various ways to test using this digital chart recorder. One, you can run your test mechanically while checking for leaks. Once you determine that your pressure has stabilized with 0 psi drop by using your pressure gauge, you can begin recording the test using the digital chart recorder. Two, you can turn on the digital chart recorder to monitor your test process from beginning to end, only recording the actual test per your time limit requirement. This could be anywhere from 1 minute, 15 minutes, or whatever is required. We will show you later on in this video how to record your graphic. Here is the software for our digital chart recorder and the user manual right next to it. Additionally, every unit will come with a USB that will include user guide videos to show how to operate this complete unit and its software. Here we have our custom test templates in this folder, and below we have the test report folder where all digital test reports will automatically populate. For this test, we will be using method number 2, where we will monitor the whole process from beginning to end. Please allow 10 to 15 seconds for the software to open completely. Here, the digital chart recorder is searching for the sensor. Okay, the unit has now found the sensor and it is automatically started up. This is how you will see your monitor view. You can record your test in various units. Here we will show you how to switch to our standard imperial units. We will start off by changing our pressure unit. As you can see, it's already set up for bar. So what we'll do is we'll hit the down arrow and we'll look for PSI. And here you can see it's switched over from bar to PSI. Now we'll go over to our decimal format. Normally we want to go ahead and set this up to do 2 decimals. As you can see, this is switched on the screen. Then we'll go over to our temperature units. Currently it's set up as Celsius. So we'll hit that down arrow and go over to Fahrenheit. And then here you can see the pressure interval. We have it set up as our standard 1 second. So it'll be recording the pressure every second. Now, if you want to change that, you can double click and change it yourself. Also, we have the temperature interval if you want to record temperature as well. Now that you have your units of measurement set up, you can navigate to the graph view by selecting Graph. In this tutorial, we will be testing to 1200 psi, so our graph will be set to 3000 psi.
Important note, the first thing we have to do before recording a pressure test is to configure our graph. The first step is to go to the graphic tool. It is marking pressure on left side. Here on the top side we have the time test recorder, and on one side we have the temperature, in case we select to see temperature graph. It will show us the temperature on the right-hand side. That is an option that you have to activate. Let's activate it. Here we have temperature. Here we have a graph from 0 to 10,000 psi. We are going to go to Setting and then to the Graph Configuration, and then we click here. Since for now we have it on automatic, well, we are going to configure it according to your pressure range test. Well, let's go to Graphic Configuration and double-click. And these are the parameters of the graphs. Here we have the graph configuration tools. Pressure and temperature, well then press the tool pressure. Here you have to set up every time you have to perform a test with different pressure to configure the graph. It is the same as if you were changing the circular paper charts in the Barton mechanical recorders, depending on the pressure range of your tests. For example, it could be from 0 to 3000 or from 0 to 5000. Then you configure the graph. Well, for now it is in automatic, and what you have to do is set it to fixed mode. We select and press fixed mode to set up pressure chart need. Then we select the graph pressure range. Well, I am going to perform a pressure test of 1200. It is always recommended and very common that the chart is configured at 50% above the test pressure, and then if I am going to do a pressure test of 1200, then I am going to set up my chart from 0 to 3000. Then I do select from 0 to 3000. 3000 psi. Well, also set up the temperature. We also have to set the temperature to fixed mode graph. For now, it is on automatic mode. Well, here in USA, Houston, Texas, the ambient temperature is 72 Fahrenheit. Well, we are going to set it to fixed mode. We are at 72. Remember that it is an average of 50%, so I am going to put it at 140. Well, here we have it already at fixed mode at 140. The pressure chart at 3000. Temperature 140, so press, okay? You want this configuration for a single test. Or if you want this chart for all tests. This means, for all the pressure graphs that are going to be tested, the digital chart recorder unit will already be configured to perform pressure tests in a range from 0 to 3000. Obviously, you can change it every time you change the pressure. Here is the chart already configured. And here shows a graphic chart from 0 to 3000. Time and temperature. You can activate or deactivate the temperature graph anytime. Well, we already have the graphics recorder configured.
Our test today will be at 1200 psi, and that is why we have set our graph to 3000 psi. Our goal is to keep the chart towards the midline of this graph, and that's why we leave at least 50% buffer.
Now we are going to configure the test time and the allowed pressure drop tolerance. In the leak test section, we go to settings and we can see that we have the option to configure more than one test. Well, I am going to do a 15-minute test at a 5% pressure drop tolerance. When the 15 minutes of the test have passed, the software will give us a result as a reference.
Remember, this folder contains our custom test report template. You can customize as many templates as you'd like and save it to this folder so it is selectable from the software. And here is an example of the test report that we will be using today. Also remember that the software will automatically populate your reports to this folder, either in PDF or in Word format as you selected. Now we will select our test report template for this test by selecting Settings. Here, where it says Word Template, we will navigate to our test report template. So now we'll go to Desktop, go to Test Template, and for this video we will be using our standard test template. Now you want to go ahead and select your output folder, which is where this software will automatically save your test reports. And this field here says Output Folder. So you select this, go to Desktop as well, and select Test Reports. So now every test will automatically populate to this folder unless you change it otherwise. So now that you've selected your output folder, you can also select the format of which you would like to save the file. So currently it's set up as Word document, but you can also save it as a PDF. Now your test report template is set up, and as well as the export folder. Our digital chart recorder is now set up to begin our test. First, make sure that you purge your test object to remove any unwanted air bubbles. In our example, our test object is this pressure hose, and as you can see attached at the end, we have our bleed valve that will remain open until we remove all unwanted air from our system. Before starting your test, make sure the isolation valve is open to allow liquid to flow through the system and to begin to fill your test object. Now this is open. Secondly, make sure to close the pressure relief valve below. Now, open the liquid valve. As you can see, liquid is flowing through the system and filling our test object. Once you see that you have a solid flow, you can go ahead and close your bleed valve. Doing this, we can test our test object without any air bubbles in the system. Some important information to keep in mind is that we have two start buttons. We have our initial start button that you can select here, and this will begin to monitor your system as you set up your test. Now, once you select that initial start button, you'll see up here that a second start button populates. You will select this start button once you are prepared to start your actual test. Now, keep in mind that once you start your test, it will automatically terminate based on the time you have set. Now, to begin our test, we will open our air control valve and slowly operate our regulator to begin building pressure. Here you can see that pressure is building. Here you can see on our gauge our pressure is building up slowly. And you can cross-reference that on our monitor as well, or on the graph. So here you can see we have approximately reached 1200 psi, which is what we're testing to today. Now we'll go over to our graph. And here on the graph, you can see exactly where we started at 0 psi. You can see here where we built up to our testing pressure. And now you can see that we're monitoring our current pressure right now. Currently, we are only recording our pressure. However, if you do want to record your temperature, you can always select show temperature on this part right here. And now you can see the temperature. Once you have reached your desired pressure, make sure to close your isolation valve. Closing your isolation valve will make sure to separate your test object from the testing unit and to ensure that we are only reading your test object. We recommend that you wait anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes depending on the volume of your test object to allow the pressure to stabilize before you actually start recording your test. As you can see here, we have reached a stable pressure. It is fluctuating in a very tight range. Please keep in mind that it will never settle 100%, but you can see at least here that it's fluctuating between a very tight range. And that indicates that our pressure has stabilized and we are ready to begin.
But to mark the test to be recorded, press the green start icon on top side. So in this case, I now want to start recording the test time, and I have stabilized pressure, so I press start of test. What is going to happen? A timeline mark appears from where the test actually starts.
You can wait for the 15 minutes of test time to pass, or you can also press the stop button.
Here you can see that the test is automatically concluded and we have a pass result. Now if you select OK, you will see that we have automatically received this dotted line to indicate that our test has concluded, and this is our time window. This section here is what will populate in your test report. You can use this slide bar here to be able to zoom into your test. So as you can see here, as I slide to the right, I am expanding my test, and now I can properly zoom in. And you can center it as needed to focus on what you'd like. Now that we have concluded our test, we will go ahead and generate our test report. So if you look into the top right corner, we have generate icon. So we will select generate. Here you can see that we have a window for all the custom fields. You will have to input every custom field for every test. Here you can use the digital keyboard. Here we're giving a test a name, which in this case will be test 1. For this test, our customer will be Exxon. For test object, we will use spool. Part number 3556. Time hold is 15 minutes. Now, once you have everything filled out, you can select OK. Now you will have to wait 10 to 15 seconds for it to generate. Here you can see that our test report has populated automatically. And if you scroll down, you can see all the information that you've input, our actual test chart. And at the bottom, you'll be able to see the signature portions where it can be tester, customer, engineer, whatever you have set up on your template. You can print this out. Okay, so we have conducted our test, and as you can see here, we still have pressure in our system. Now, this is very important to keep in mind. Before you zero this sensor, you want to make sure that your system no longer has any pressure. Now, to release pressure from your system, you want to close your air control valve, your liquid valve. You want to zero your regulator, and then open your isolation valve. Now, once this is open, you will go to open your release pressure valve. Now, you want to do this slowly and safely. So now, if you look over here, we have 0 psi on our outlet pressure gauge and 0 psi on our regulator gauge. So as you can see here, we have 0 psi on our outlet pressure gauge. But if you look over on the screen, you'll see that we still have 1,262 psi. And that's because our system right now is frozen where we concluded. Now to get this back to 0, you will go over down here and select 0 sensor. You'll have this warning populate, and then you will select yes to continuing. So now you'll see that on the screen we have 0 psi, and as well as on our gauge. Now the system is ready to begin conducting another test. Please remember that our test was to 1200 psi only for the tutorial video. This series will go up to test pressures of 60,000 psi. Now the procedures that we went through in this video will be the same for a low pressure, medium pressure, and a high pressure test. Now we will go ahead and close our test software. So navigating over to our test reports folder, you'll see that our test 1 has populated automatically into this folder. And here is our saved test report. So you can also save this test report onto a USB if you would like. And here I will grab this report and move it over to our USB. Now you can copy it here, you can move it here, whatever you'd like, but now it is in our USB. Now here I have my test report, and I can take it with me wherever I'd like. Now keep in mind, this unit is API certified, and if you see here, we have our calibration certificate for the digital chart recorder and our pressure gauge. Now, we recommend that you calibrate these every year if necessary per your requirements. Now, for recalibrating the digital chart recorder and the pressure gauge, you can send them out to your local lab to get recalibrated, or you can send it directly back to us. For service and repairs, you can always reach out to us at Hydrorex, and as well for any parts that you can't receive locally, you can contact us as well and we can source them for you. Now, to begin shutting down the system, we will select this off button. Make sure you go ahead and close your USB port, lower your antenna. Now open your latches, and now you can bring down your protective cover.
In case you have a requirement to do multiple tests reported in the same test report graph, then you can do it just by stopping the recorder with the stop button and activating it with the start button, thus consecutively until the required tests are performed.
To write and configure your report, use the keyboard tool by pressing the keyboard icon at the bottom. In case your tablet does not have this application activated, then you will have to enable it to have access. A keyboard will appear on the screen that can be used to move around the screen and integrate text. You also have the option to integrate a conventional keyboard and mouse using the USB input port mounted on the unit for more precise typing control.
At the top of the screen we have the check tool, where you can optionally update the software whenever we have a new update. We also have the help tool, where you can study and learn more about the software in more detail. There is also access to the contacts of our customer service offices for technical questions.
Test template and how to use it with your digital chart recorder.
Creation of a report template or test certificate. This report template is a file that is made with the Microsoft Office Word program. You can design your template on any computer that has access to Word, then save on a USB drive and pass into the digital chart recorder PC on your test unit. This template cannot be designed on the PC tablet mounted on the test unit. It has to be designed on another computer as keyboard, and mouse access is required for design. This template you see on the screen is the one that is normally already set up in the system from its source. This is a customized template according to the customer's requirements with much more testing information, with the company logo and emblems. All digital MOHO equipment manufactured by Hydrorex is already programmed to test under a template designed with the most common and standard. With the most common and standard required to generate a test certificate, according to the API code. This template or certificate after each test can be generated and saved in PDF or Word format to any folder in your computer from the real testing time. And from there, you can share it in Wi-Fi or USB mode for transport. But if you want to make your own template according to your requirements and company logos, then these are the steps to follow. This is the document provided by the software designer. It is telling us that the report is a template prepared in Word.
It is also telling us that this template is already established on the PC with our unit and located in the desktop section in a folder called ESI template, and we are going to look for it. With this template, we are going to create our own customized template. It also teaches us step by step how to incorporate certain codes that the system will read when we write the information of our pressure test. There are two ways to create our own test template for pressure testing. The first is to follow the steps given to us by the manufacturer, which is this one. The second way is to look for the test template that already exists in our system, which we will find on the desktop in the folder called ESI Test Template. Open the folder. This is the template, and this is how it comes.
This is what is going to appear if you do a test run right now. Obviously, your logo does not come. You may want more information here. These are the codes. You are going to put this test report template in a USB because we are going to transfer it to your office computer or a desktop computer where we have access to the keyboard and mouse to be able to edit it. We're going to create our test report. We're going to Word. Well, something simple. You are going to put all the convenient things there. Well, now we are going to edit what is important. Are the layers or the information tablets? For this, we are going to close screen. We are going to go to ESI USB file, where we have the template that comes implemented in our PC tablet on test unit. There we have the two screens. This is the template that you have available right now. Obviously, you want to edit it, customize it to your liking. We are going to base ourselves on this. These are the codes. Right now, what we are going to do is copy and paste. It is easier for me than going step by step. So we are going to do it like this. We are going to put some tablets in here. Here I am going to put a subtitle. We could put general test information. Now let's put in our first line. Maybe customers? Test object. Pressure. We could also put results. I'm going to put another subtitle here. And let's put date here. Let's put fluid type. And so on, everything you want to put. I am doing this for something basic. You take the time and make all your requirements. They have here the certificate of calibration information. Remember that if you are going to put the certificates with their dates and expiration dates, which is every year, you have to edit the template and make the changes with the updated dates. Well, now comes the most important thing, which is the chart of the graph. Simply what I am going to do is to copy it and paste it here, and here it is. When we do this, it already comes with all the integrated codes. If you are going to do it from scratch using the procedure that the software designer sends us, which is the page that we saw that we are going to provide you with the equipment, there you can do it manually. He is going to indicate you to put a layer, to put these codes. Well, it is already copy-paste, and it is easier.
When you adjust the pressure intervals, a report of each interval is automatically reporting according to adjusted, which are all these pages. If you do not want these pages intervals reports, then just have to delete this code, and in this way when you generate the test report these pages will no longer appear and you will only get the graphic test and custom info report.
We are going to put the codes that we need in these functions. We are going to put, this is going to be the first one, copy. This is going to be custom field 1. It's important. Exactly in the alignment where the code is, there is going to be the response to the function when the technician is putting his results or his test information after each test. Now, if you look here, it says insert custom field number 1. This is going to be number 2. You can't repeat numbers. There can't be 2 number 2s, because if you put number 2 here, it will double the same information. We take number 3. Put number 3 here. The system will put it wherever you want that information in the custom fields during the test. You can copy the number 5 here, and then put 6, 7, 8. I think the most it allows us to put is 40 or 50. Well, here we are going to put test technician. Here we are going to put as a supervisor or witness of evidence. Here we will put a signature. Well, here we are going to put the technician, 11. And here we are going to do the 12. So we have 12 custom fields, and here we have it. This is all you need. Then we are going to do some real-time tests so we can see how it works, how to activate our template. It is very simple. We already have it. Right now we are working on the office computer on the desktop. Here we are going to put Save As. This is the most important thing I would say of the whole section of how to make our test template. If you do not save the format in Word template, then it won't work. The mistake that many people make is that they save it in Word document, and the system cannot read it. The digital system for chart recorder will not read it. It is very important that it is saved in Word template format. We are going to call it Test Report. We can call it Test Report 1, Test Report 2, or Hydro Test 1. We can have several templates according to the tests that are doing. The most common is to maintain a standard and use a single template for all the tests. Here we have it in desktop. It is very important to keep this folder in the digital test recorder. Mounted on the test unit, we are going to pass it here. We are going to open and review. Here we have the ESI report that comes with the tablet, and this is the one that we just did. Now, what you have to do is to grab the template and download it into a USB. And you're going to put it into the PC tablet on unit. We're going to do that, and once it's in the digital recorder PC tablet, we're going to see the activation process. The moment you turn on your digital graphic recorder, you will see on the screen the recorder application, which is this icon, also the user manual and the codes to make our custom template that we saw at the beginning of the video. This video is equivalent to these two files. Now we are going to transfer the realized template to our graphic recorder mounted in the unit of tests by using a USB. Well, we are going to transport it. And then we are going to put it in the folder called ESI USB, which is the folder that comes with the graphic recorder already of origin. If we open it, here we have the report that automatically gives us our customized report. Well, then first we will have to open a new folder on desktop where we want to save all our test reports, where they will be directed from our graphical recorder by the test technician. So I'm going to make a folder. I am going to call it Test Report, but you can name it Exxon Reports, Shell Reports. You can open many folders depending one for each client, etc., etc. Well, now we are going to do the template configuration. We are going to go here to Setting. Here it says Reporting. All this is the report section. Everything is here. We go to Configuration, which is the setting. And here we have the FIO 1, 2, 3, Field 3, Field 5, 6, 7. We can go up to 50 or 100 fields. Remember that 1. We decide that 1 is going to be a client. We verify. 1 is going to be a client. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to put customer. Then this is already the customer information, the 2. Then we go to the template. This has to be related to the template that we have and the configuration in the software. Then here it says test object, which is tool or type of object that we are going to test. This is field number 2. Type tool or part to test. Number 3 is going to be part number. Is going to be part number. Well, let's copy description. Or we can type, it doesn't matter, the easiest. Number 3 is going to be part number. Oh, we can write it, part number. So we are going to go successively up to the number 12. Now, very important. We have to select the template type, in which type of template we are going to use this information. It is very important to select the test report template, which we named this way, because this configuration matches the existing template. That's why it is very important. You can't put other information here in the configuration if your template doesn't have this information. Then we are going to look for it. We go here. We open it. Here are the 2 templates, the one that comes with the source unit, the one that we implemented, and the custom one that you made. And the customized one that you made. So here you can have 5, 6, 7 different templates. Maybe for different customers, maybe for different applications, maybe for testing with water, maybe for testing with hydraulic, maybe for testing with gas, with nitrogen, which is also common. So let's select this is the template we want to use. It appears here, World Template. Remember that it must be in World Template format. We are going to put open, and this is how it appears. Then we already have our fields filled with the information. We are going to save it in PDF format. We put OK. And this is our test ready. We still need to generate it. We did the configuration of our template. Now we are going to generate. Then we are going to generate a certificate, a report. We are going to go to Generate, which is here. We see that we get customer, test object, part number, the 12 fields that we have configured. They already appear in our section of Generate Test or Generate Report. This already matches with the template that we have saved in our tablet. Then it will automatically write the answers that we put here. The customer, Exxon. Pressure. Hydraulic. Or here you can put whatever you want, according to the configurations that you have. The date. Test technician. Here we can put Alex, witness, supervisor. Test witness may be the client or some other technician. Robert, well, then this is the information. We are going to put OK. And it will be generated. We have to wait from 5 to 20 seconds. Remember? It depends on the waiting time. Maximum 30 seconds. And the report will be generated. It will open on the screen on your PC tablet. It will open the template in the PDF format or in the Word format that you have selected, and then you can see here, Client, Exxon and all your information, the number of parts, Exxon 35, pressure, equipment, etc. Here we have our test graph. And then here it already shows Alex was the technician and the supervisor, or the witness was Robert. Well, it's very simple. Well, we're out of here. We are going to go here to the folder of our reports. We open it, and here appears the report. So here we have it. And this is our report. We print it, we give it to Alex for him to sign it, and that's it. You still have the option to edit it in Adobe if you have the editing PDF program, and there you can make changes.